So have you ever come to the question, what is karma? Now, in the Western world, the way it's been explained to me and the way I've always essentially defined what karma was karma was something that essentially if you did bad deeds, those bad deeds essentially would come back to haunt you. And it was used very much in a negative way. And then I've heard a lot of different thoughts and ideas about what karma is. But one of the ones that really stick out to me is one by Sadhguru, which he is an Indian mystic. I've actually been reading a lot of his books lately, and I will be doing a book review on his newest book. I believe it's called Karma. And in that book, it goes over how you define karma. And it's really interesting because of the way he groups it, right? And something I've always talked about how you shouldn't be positive or negative, and you shouldn't kind of sit in the middle, but you should accept things as a whole and be very objective the way you come across anything in life. And the way you should take action towards those things is essentially that way. You see it as it is. You don't have an opinion about it, and you make the best choices that you can. Yes, I've always talked about being positive and stuff like that, but try to be more objective. In this way, you are not essentially expending energy that you don't need to be, and you can use that energy for the things that you want and desire in your life and want to put forth in your life. Now, being said, going back to karma, he essentially sees it as being layers, which is really interesting to me because all your experiences in life, right, they add up. And when I used to think of karma, right, you did something bad, it would add up. Or if you did something good, it would add up. So it kind of makes sense in this way. He defines it a lot better, essentially that it is layers on those things that you do, those actions that you take. And it's a reflection of your thought process on your previous, like your history, and you propelling it into your future and the choices that you make in your life. That's how he is defining it. And even in the book, he defines it even differently. I believe there's three different pieces of karma. There's the mindset of karma. There's the body of karma, right? What are your intentions when you are taking action, right? When he talks about the body, he's talking about action that you are taking towards a particular choice. And then when he's talking about mindset, what he's talking about is essentially your intentions, right, when you are making a choice, which I find to be extremely, it goes along with a lot of different things I talk about. So I find it interesting that he took that approach on karma. And I mean, his knowledge is very vast. I mean, he is a yogi, and he's done some really deep thinking. And I love the way he thinks because he comes at everything very objectively, and that's the way you should live your life. And he talks about that all the time. And even for myself, right, when I talk about these different things, it's all trying to put it in practice, just letting things be as they are. And it's not the only time I've heard that. I've heard it through another author that I love to read is Michael Singer, and that spiritual side, right, is understanding you come at things objective and don't not do something because perhaps you feel negative towards it, or perhaps that you essentially you just don't want to do it, right? And understand that being objective, not saying you should be yes to every little thing, but being objective, being acceptive that life is trying to guide you along the way, and living this experience and growing on this particular side of the house, right? On the spiritual side, for me, it's always been that way, like trying to understand how to be more objective, how to understand what karma is, to understand about intuition, right? All these things, they mean a lot. And our bodies, I think we all tend to forget how well tuned they are to the life, right? To energy in itself in the world. You may not believe in energy and all that stuff, but it is a scientific proven fact that we are all based out of energy. And the fact that energy essentially doesn't exist, right, without us focusing on it. So that goes really in depth about a lot of different things, but getting back to karma and understanding what karma is and realizing that you have to be in the moment and realize that you aren't yourself, right? You're merely just being observant of what is going on in your life. That's the way you should approach it. That's the way you should come at karma. And that everything that you stack is just a reflection. So if you're trying to do that inner work, and this is ultimately what it is, this is what karma ultimately is doing inner work. Being mindful of what is going on and the choices that you're making, and realize that these choices make butterfly effects into bigger things in your life. Have this butterfly effect into bigger things in your life. And so these little choices, they matter. Being an observer of everything that is going around, and it is something that you have to practice. It's not something that you just get. It's not something that you can just click and you have it. You have to continue to be mindful of what you're doing. Be mindful if you're in the past. Be mindful if you're in the future. And when it comes to karma, realize that the choices that you're making, they stack up to how you're going to portray your next choices in life. And that's what's important. And that's how you change your life, right? That's how you make dramatic change. When I mean dramatic change, it could be as simple as getting healthier. It could be as simple as changing your mindset, going and getting a different job, going and changing your life in some way that suits you better than your current state. And being said, to be able to do that, you have to be mindful of what's going on. You have to observe, as opposed to trying to go at things with, is this a con or a pro or anything like that, but just be objective of what it is. This allows you to think clearly about stuff. It doesn't bring into emotion, because when emotion comes into our choices, you realize that you make wrong choices because it's based off of emotion, as opposed to being able to spend the time on something and think about it a lot more thoroughly than you typically would. And then this goes into intuition, right? Don't just think about everything logically, because a lot of times when you follow intuition, it's not going to be logical. And so being said, karma, choices that you make, right? Be mindful that the choices that you're making builds your karma, because it's the way you're going to project your thoughts and ideas onto the world. And it's like anything in life, and anything I talk about on this channel is to understand that the way you interact with your world, the things that you're inputting, are going to interpret and give you a perspective in which you're going to display upon the world. So everything is internal. I think a lot of times we like to blame and point and utter about different things that are going on in the world. Yes, the world isn't always the greatest. There's always goods, there's always bads, but you have to ultimately understand that we are a reflection of what we're digesting and how we go about making those choices, how we react to the world. And so being said, build karma. Build the kind of karma you want, leading towards your destination or objective or purpose, whatever you want to call it. Because he does define that in his book as well, is that it can be one of these things. That's the other piece of karma. Having purpose. But do you have purpose, or are you just guided through life by following intuition and not being objective and just letting life be as it is, and just listening? And that's one of the hardest things for us to do, is just to listen. Where is it telling us to go? What people are introducing into our lives? What for? What's the meaning of that? I believe everybody that comes in your life has some sort of meaning to teach you something. It may be painful, it may be great. Nonetheless, just be an observer and see how things go. And then karma, right? Whatever those choices are, lead you that way. Your intentions to going somewhere specific. Is your intention to bring harm? Is your intention to be genuine to people? Because the more choices that you make that way, yes, it builds karma. Yes, it reflects on how you portray the future. If you've been a very good person, you've helped people out, you're projecting that into your next choice. If you've done bad to people and then you're trying to do good, yes, those bad thoughts are going to come up, so you're going to think about that bad karma on your next thoughts. And so it's good to be objective in every little thing that you do. And this builds the karma. This is the way I've seen karma now, because before I used to think of karma the other way. but I feel that this is a better way of looking at karma. And I will get a book review out for you guys before too long when I do finish this book, so that way you guys can pick up this book as well. So if you've made it this far, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Till next time, I'll see you guys later.